person that I want to introduce you to now is our guest for today, is Chef Dennis.
You know, I'm just a regular guy like everybody else pretty much here on Google Plus that has kind of found their way to have a following. There's no secret to it. It's just how you present yourself, how you engage.
You're working with a team from the PYB Academy on a project that meets that criteria. And can you describe that event and what's driving the project and outcome you're targeting?
Yeah, we are targeting an event in Vail, Colorado. It's called Vail2015. They use a hashtag Vail2015, and it's the World Alpine Championship ski races. So we've got 70 countries coming in, 150,000 spectators, and it's a huge event in the ski racing world in particular, and Colorado's very excited about it. We are doing this project to help a neighboring town called Eagle, Colorado, and we're using a hashtag EagleCO. And we're helping Eagle, Colorado get on the map or get on Google Maps. Now we've heard Martin talk about putting a village on the map, and that's what inspired this project in the PYB Academy. We started looking at that and said, hey, let's put Eagle, Colorado on the map, and let's tie it to an event that's worldwide and see if we can get some digital traction. But our project is taking 15 small businesses in the town of Eagle, Colorado, getting them on the maps, getting them verified, optimized, and socialized, and associating them with this worldwide event because the event has some digital traction, and helping those businesses see the benefit of being findable on Google Maps. The first thing that we did to get it started was I walked the streets of Eagle, Colorado, and I don't mean that in a weird way. And I was using my mobile phone to find that the businesses were not searchable. And, you know, it's Google Maps basically, and they weren't there. And of course, I'm a Google advocate, and businesses in general, we know, are not really embracing Google+, but that's not the focus. It's they weren't on Google Maps. They can relate to that. So I went into each business and I said, so what are you doing to gear up for Vail2015, this huge event that's happening 20 miles down the road? And they said, oh, I don't know, not much. And I said, well, you know, we've got 150,000 spectators come to town, and I can't find you on Google Maps. And that was pretty much all I had to say to get them interested in getting some help from me. People want to be on Google Maps, and that's a great conversation starter with businesses to get them onto Google Maps because they can relate to it. Then we bring them into Google Plus because we build their page for them.
Chef, just getting right to it, based off what you know right now, how would you, if you were in Eagle, Colorado, and knowing that there was 150,000 people that was going to be in Vail, Colorado on these dates, because they're not going to be the important people. The thing that the people in Vail or in Eagle need to know, they're not going to be there in March. Those 150,000 people, they're going to be there in February, and so that's when they have to take advantage of that influx of people. So if it were you, what's the first thing you would do?
No, I'm just saying, with that kind of amount of people coming in, you know, there needs to be some kind of a lead broadcast to these people, just like Debbie did, going in and telling them. Because starting now, you're scrambling, and scrambling is a whole lot different than planning. And, you know, for me, some of it wouldn't be that different, but it was going to require some different thought on how they go about doing it. Now, I just left a business in Cocoa Villages that has like no social media presence at all except for a Facebook page, and we had a little sit down afterwards talking to them about the importance of some different aspects of it. Now with the way Eagle is set up, and if they're not even showing up on the maps, we need to do something about that, and Debbie's gone about getting them situated and starting a page. You know, we've got a Google local page for each one of them probably set up in addition to their home page. But we need to give them some presence, okay? And as far as I am concerned, video is the best way to get them that presence. Using a Hangout on Air is the best way to get them that kind of presence. And doing a very short, you know, this is me kind of a video, depending on whatever their business is, would be a great way to give them some added exposure so if people are looking for something, that's liable to come up in search. Okay, so individually, they've got that option. Now together, they've got a little bit more strength. So I would try to get them to band together in some way, whether it was totally, and that might be one way too, all 15 businesses together doing something jointly, sharing hashtags, sharing exposure, sharing announcements, repurposing the announcements on whatever social media they have. And then I would try and get the businesses that are like let's say restaurants, because I'm a chef, to do something else together. The first thing you do is whenever they're coming into town, we're going to run a tasting menu. Very simple. I don't like to impose what they're going to do, because every chef, if they're like me, they say, look, I'm a chef, I'm creative, I know what to cook. Don't tell me what to cook. But we can do a tasting menu. An appetizer, an entree, a dessert, $30, $40, whatever they want to charge for it. But I mean, keep it low enough so it's reasonable, but keep it, so they're not losing money either. They got to make money on this. And not only are they going to attract all these other people, but they're liable to attract some locals in at the same time, and the locals really are going to be their bread and butter. All this is extra gravy coming in. So for a restaurant, that's a good way to approach it. So during this weekend or whatever, let's call it, their ski weekend, their ski week specials, or however they want to do it on their slow days. Maybe they just want to do it Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday. So there are some different approaches they can have to doing that. If you're a different kind of small business, if you are whatever other type of business you may have, a decorative knickknacks, flowers, candy, anything like that, then you might want to tie in another way, like maybe if there was a florist, they would want to send flowers to different restaurants, or maybe the restaurants would display a flower display that each one of them had with their name. And then, but you need to get everybody sharing on social media, whether it's totally, and then in niche groups as well, and then also on Twitter, on Instagram. Instagram's a really good tool to drive people into your place of business, and also have them take Instagram shots, like bring them in, 15% off if you do an Instagram shot, or 25% off, or whatever you want to give them, however you want to do it to bring people in, because you got to give them an incentive to do these kind of things.
Chef, you mentioned Yelp, and one of the things that I'm reading as I'm learning about Google Local and Google Maps is that if a small business has, particularly restaurants, because they use Yelp so often, but if they've got an optimized Google Maps listing and G+ page, those reviews will generate search engine returns, they'll supersede the Yelp reviews. So that's one of the things that I'm learning as part of this project that we're working on, is that Google reviews will carry more weight than Yelp reviews in a Google search, and that means a lot. And so we've got our 15 businesses, and just this morning, because I'm managing most of those businesses at this point, I'm building their circles, and I called one of them the Eagle Neighborhood. And I'm going to show them how they can filter their stream by creating one circle, and they can just look at the messages that neighborhood is posting. And so if they wanted to put together something like you're saying, the restaurants will have a tasting menu, the flower shops, might be able to contribute flowers or have arrangements that also carry the theme of the tasting menu or Vail 2015, but they can use Google Plus then right there, even if they don't have a bazillion followers. If you make a neighborhood of those local businesses, they can work out some of these strategies and campaigns together so that they create a larger, what do they say? The sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and they can organize it easily through conversations on G+.
So are these businesses located centrally to each other? Are they on one street?
It's the town is 4.5 square miles. Most of the businesses are on the same street called Broadway Street. All of them know each other because it's a little tiny town. And
are they within like a couple blocks? I mean, is it a section that the city could close off and do something special on that street one of the days?
Yes, they just did it on December 6th. They had their Christmas on Broadway. They closed off 4 blocks, which is basically the town, and they had a bonfire and a parade and music, and people brought hors d'oeuvres and stuff out onto the sidewalk. So yeah, they've got a small, it's very small and very, very cozy.
And you know, the one thing about the power of these 15 businesses, besides banding together and sharing out and pushing information, is they also have just made their budgets easier to work with, because if they can put $100 a piece into an advertising budget and buy one ad as opposed to 15 small ads, that one ad is going to have a lot more impact because of the size and because it's generating more of a feel for people getting out and doing business, rather than, you know, having to hunt and peck and say, no, that's a nice ad, that's nice. But it gives it more of an event feel when they do something. And people love events. I think working together will give them the best advantage and the best way to really get, you know, it's almost, you want to let them think about it, it's almost like a mini Twitter chat if they're all pumping the same hashtag, pumping it out without being obnoxious. You know, they're getting their message out there enough times. And that's why I think the same thing with Instagram could really work for them.
But you just bring up a really good point that I've been really kind of stuck on for over the last year, is that the opportunity, small businesses a lot of the time have a hard time coming up with the budget, and like you said, even they say, you know, time and all of this. But when you, what I like to call crowdsource advertising, when you bring a group of local people together that are pitching in at the same, focusing on the same thing, whether it be a budget for a video, you know, or a budget for, like you said, a street fair or what have you, you can cut thousands of dollars worth of costs down to, you know, a couple hundred. And that's something that a smaller local business can afford to deal with.
Now, you have to start thinking of how you're going to get people to come all the way over, and that's when it really gets a little more difficult, especially since I'm sure there's a lot of really good restaurants in Vail, and you know, people generally don't want to travel. So you have to give them a reason more than just coming to have dinner, to come down there to have dinner. Really, I mean, for me, I'm already here. I don't feel like driving. But if my wife hears that they've also got some street entertainment, or there's something else going on, or there's an art show, or there's something else to make her, or if they can convince her that it's going to be pretty to walk down the streets and just enjoy the time, then she's more liable to make me go because she wants to see that. So you know, when you're looking to attract people, you can't always think right of the first thing that's going to attract them to have them come, which we would think would be the food, because that may not be the driving force. You have to think of what else they're going to come to that area. They're going to travel, whether it be 15 minutes or 45 minutes. You have to give them a reason to leave where they are to come see you. And a lot of times that's the aesthetics of the area, that's any events that might be going on in the area, or our calling card for that area. So you have to make Eagle sound like the sweetest little town that you'll ever find, a perfect place for a romantic walk, or to see historic downtown, or whatever, however you want to build it. You have to build it in a way that's going to make people want to come see that. And then eating and shopping in the stores is going to be a byproduct of what you've achieved.
I'm guessing that if 150,000 people are going to converge on Vail, the accommodation there is going to be maxed out and very expensive. So if there is accommodation in the Eagle area, I think that could be a key driver, but I really don't know if that sort of accommodation would be available. But I'm guessing it would be cheaper and people would be prepared to travel because accommodation in Vail is maxed out.
Of course, when I got started on this, it was the hotels who were already had a leg up on this. So all but one of the 5 hotels was already booked in November, booked solid. You're absolutely right, Greg, that the hotels are kind of a main place, and that's what I'm liking about creating this digital neighborhood on Google Plus, so that the hotel is connected now with all of the restaurants that are also pushing the Vail 2015 and the EagleCO hashtag, and so that hotel has first and foremost in their mind that Positively is running specials, you know, for Italian food, or maybe Positively will, you know, do a special celebration if Team Italian wins that week or something like that. But you know, so that the hotels know what the restaurants are doing related to Vail 2015, because the hotels are going to be, you know, a hub of activity because they are booked. and they're booked with people who are there for the event. I listed a bunch of things on my, just some ideas that you got going in my head. So it's great to talk to somebody who's got so much experience on Google+, who understands how it can be used to promote and support your business, basically. And so coming from Chef, it just carries a lot of credibility. So thank you, Chef, for being here today.
Well, and it's the message I always try to give people. It's about community, and it's about working with each other and helping each other, because together we're ultimately stronger. Individually, we can make some noise. Together, we can make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking about. Not be afraid to join in with competitors, because they're not always competitors. They can be friends.